Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first of all thank you for coming out. I a few of our leaders here have will have to leave. They have another program this afternoon. So before they leave, they want to address us. So when they're finished, we're going to retake our position. So once again, I want to thank you, all of you, for coming out. You have the objective is being met, and every time we gather, we show strength. We show strength, and the installed are trembling. Every time we gather, and we know that we are going to have a bigger crowd. We're going to have better support as we go along. But what we're seeing here is very good, and we want to keep it up. We want to build on this momentum because the time is coming where we'll have to put all our shoulders to the wheel and say, well, this is it. They either come to us, speak to us. If they don't speak to us in our language, then we're going to make this country ungovernable. Nobody is going to force us to take any vaccine whatsoever that we don't want to take. Only this morning, I got a call from a young lady in Golden Grove. Her mother is not well. They were turned away from Georgetown Hospital because they don't have a card to show that they had a vaccine. So we are saying that we are not going to sit back and allow our people to perish because of unilateral decisions by the PPP. So I love what I see today. We all should be energized by this gathering. And this is sending a message to the installed government that the people of this country had enough. And we're not going to sit idly by. I'm going to hand you over now to, where's Mr. Amsterdam? Kidaki. Yes, I want to hand you over to Kidaki, Amsterdam, from CVOs, Buxtonian Morning. Over to you, Kidaki.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Brothers and sisters, give yourself a round of applause. Let me congratulate you. You've done well. You've shown by your numbers that indeed you are not satisfied with what is happening. You're not satisfied with what this installed cabal is doing. And like I usually say, closed mouths don't get fed. It's a squeaky wheel that will get the grease. And unless we come out and we say to the world that what this government is doing is not right, and we are not going to sit idly by and accept it, it's not going to change. So congratulations for the start. Note it is a start. Because we have to start somewhere. They say baby steps. Some people will look at the numbers and say, it's a small set of them. But small axe cuts down big tree. And you have to start small before you can get big. All of you out here are leaders because you are leading the way in the pushback against this government and what it is about. And so I encourage you, we won't leave it here. Each of us will go and each will reach one and teach one. And when we come again, we're going to come double. We're going to come double. We're going to come bigger than we are now. But the reality is, unless we start, we're not going to get the message out. And today we are starting. And the messages that were here and the messages that are being championed are clear. People have a right to choose. Our body, our choice. We must choose if we want to be vaccinated or not. Those people who have already been vaccinated, some of them made a choice to be vaccinated. If you recognize and respect their choice to be vaccinated, you must also recognize and respect other people's choice not to be vaccinated. Right? You cannot respect the choice of some and disrespect the choice of others. That is unequal. And we are looking for equality in this country. Likewise, every day we hear about continued efforts of this illegitimate government to frustrate and oppress the common man. But I almost spoke about a woman who was turned away from the hospital because they do not have a COVID vaccination card to show. Isn't that tantamount to madness? The hospital is the place where people go for medical care. And you are turning away people because they have not accepted, they have not chosen to be vaccinated for COVID-19. Right? So COVID-19 is the only thing which people need medical care for. That's madness. Citizens are paying taxes, taxpayers' dollars are paying for services. Yet, the actions of this government are saying that despite the fact you're paying for the services, we will not give it to you unless you accept it on our terms. You will get employment if you agree to be vaccinated. As a matter of fact, you will get your salaries that you have already worked for only if you agree to be vaccinated. Because there are many of those cases where teachers, members of the military's salaries have been withheld because they have not taken the vaccine. That is unfair, it is unjust, and it is something that we have to stand up against. Likewise, you know of the discrimination in your community. How many of you got pink slips instead of the $25,000 COVID relief? Many of us, right? While other people in other communities were able to get monies for each and every member of their household. In this community, they get pink slip and nothing. How many of you received relief, flood relief, for the destruction of your crops in the backlands? I dare say nobody. But in other parts of the country, people are getting money. Right? And these are the things which we have to speak out against. If you look at the public service, a majority black population in the public service, there's no question about that. And every public service agency, this government is creating an issue to force black people out of employment. To force black people out of employment. Unless we stand up and we say it will not be allowed, it is going to continue forever. And I'm saying, brothers and sisters, thank you for coming out today and saying that we will not allow it to continue. It will not be allowed to continue. And we are going to continue to bend our shoulders to the wheel and object it and push back. As the Jamaican singer said, the harder they come, the harder they will fall. And we have to be prepared to ensure that they fall as hard as they can. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Never defeated. Never defeated. Our choice must go. Must go. My choice. Our choice. My choice. Our choice. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, comrades. Good afternoon, kings and queens. Kings and queens. I want to join with Dr. Hines in saying thanks to you for coming out this afternoon to show your solidarity in this position, in this struggle that we have taken
body, our choice. What is heart-rending to me as a woman, as a mother, as a grandmother, is the fact that you cannot go to the Georgetown Public Hospital or any other health facility to seek medical attention either for yourself or your relative without showing the vaccination card. Show them we cover. United Nations has said to us that we have the right to health care. And so therefore I want to encourage us that we must understand that we have a right, and we must not allow that right to be taken from us. And so therefore as a people we have a choice. We have persons with underlying conditions. We have senior citizens at home who are bedridden. Are we going to lift them on stretchers, take them to get a vaccine before they receive medical attention? Brothers and sisters, we have to understand that we have a right, and you have a right to take a position. My body, my choice. I choose if I want to take the vaccine. If you choose not to take it, it is your choice. And so I ask of you to continue to support human rights. My body, my choice. Thank you very much. All right.
All right, good afternoon, brothers and sisters. As my friend said, kings and queens of Victoria and surrounding communities. I am particularly happy because at the gathering here, if we looked at it, it reflects a coming together of forces. Ms. Allen, who just spoke, is a member of the PNCR. I am an executive member of the Working People's Alliance. I don't see any of the AFC members. I don't know if any of them is around, but they were well represented at Buxton. People are recognizing that in order to change our situation in Guyana, that it is not a struggle for any single entity, that we all have to come together to demand the change that we need. And so when we call, we are happy that you can come out to make your voices heard. As Kidaki said, one Dotty build dam, relax the Skadong victory. We have to start with these small gatherings. We have to begin with the little mobilizations across the country. And then we are going to decide that we are going to march on the city to make our demand. History has it that we marched from Buxton and we marched on the city on several occasions. And every time we did that, we got the changes that we desired. But I am saying today that this time it has to be different. We are not going to allow the Hickens and those to shoot us with pellets and so on this time around. If that is the kind of struggle that we are preparing for, then I will not be part of it. Because I believe that just like how the Buzz Gonzalez said, that if they are bumpy, if they pelt a pebble, we must pelt a brick. Yes. And let them understand that we are not in for this talk of peace and being brutalized. It has been too long, and we have suffered long enough. It's only a year, August 2, 1 year, and we have seen what this government has done to the people of this country, black people in particular in this country. They have done a lot, not for us to benefit, but for us to be made victims of the policies that they have enacted. We talk about the pink slips. We know what happened there. For us, for them, we are being treated as less than human beings. We went to the quarantine at number 53, and we were told by the residents there that number 52 and number 54, which are touted to be PPP strongholds, that during the flood situation, that they were giving massive hampers, each household. And when the people of 53 complained that they were not being given hampers, they organized and they got a truck to go around with little bags. They did not take it to the people's homes. They dumped them at the end of the street. And the people had to come out and take it like dogs. This is the kind of treatment that is being meted out to us. In the public service, at the moment, in the public service, they are holding back the wages of workers from the GTMC, the Guyana Lands and Surveys, and all these places. And when the workers go to inquire about their salaries, they're telling them in derogatory ways that they really should not be there. Why is it that they got to live from day to day? Did not them put them in the position if they don't want, they could left the work. Gail Teixeira on the public television stated that the public service is dominated by black people. So they can't find positions to put the East Indians. So their strategy now is to treat us like dogs in the public service so that we are going to walk off the job. And then they will fill the position. With their own people. They have done that already in Gaisuku. They have cleaned Gaisuku out of black people, and they have installed an Indian population there. In all the rehirings that they have done in Gaisuku, inquire if they have hired Afro-Guyanese, and you will see the discrimination. It is for the same reason that they have presented two budgets and they have boasted that these are the biggest budgets in the history of the country. And in neither of those budgets, public servants would have been catered for. But Gaisuku, during the flood, they've claimed that $15 billion in canes and so on have been lost. And so we can expect that they are going to put 30 billion into Gaisuku in order to steal the money and to give to their cronies and crooks and so on. This is the nature of the government. This is the nature of the government. Gaisuku is an entity that is failing. It is not producing. How can you have an industry? Any businessman will tell you, you put in $10, you expect to get 12 or 10 or even if $11. But how can you put into an industry $10 and you make $4 and you keep putting all the time? And when efforts were made to right-size the industry, they criticized it. And so They are seeking ways to put all this money there and are leaving public servants to suffer. The announcement by Irfan Ali recently about public servants has only come about because of the protest at Buxton, where it was highlighted to the world that the government is discriminatory and that they are treating black people like dogs in this country. And that is why we have to praise the fact that there is social media today. Because in the previous 23 years of the PPP, we knew what they did with the media in this country. Right? They're doing the same thing, but they don't have the opportunity now to hide information in the way that they could have in those 23 years. The dynamics have changed. And so even as we speak here today, the world can be enlightened to the suffering of our people in this country. And so I say today to you that it is a message that we have to spread. We have to encourage our brothers and sisters that in moments like these, when we make the call, that they must come out and they must support so that their voices can be recorded and that the government must be aware that people are saying enough is enough. The chant of people's power, no dictator, is relevant today. And we must raise that chant so that this government will understand that we are not going to take it. I have a son in the military. We have people in the police force. And we are hearing all kinds of discriminatory behaviors. We have a president who believes that he has a right to do whatever he chooses. And so in their effort to monopolize the military and the police, they have dismissed the Police Service Commission. And Anil Nandalal has the temerity to tell us that even though the Constitution has prescribed that the president does not have that right to dismiss the commission, that our only redress is by going to court, that the president can do whatever he likes, and we can only have redress by going to the courts. But our voices can be raised, and we can chant loudly and demonstrate, and as my brother said, make this country ungovernable, so that they understand that people's power means no dictator. I listened to the Minister of Education chanting that the school cash grant is for Amerindians, it's for East Indians, it's for every African. She can do that because she knows that it is not an avenue for them to discriminate. So she can pretend as though they care about all the people of this country, when we know that they don't. It will be too glaring if they were to go into every school and to scratch off all the Jameses and the Thomases and to leave the Singhs and the Prasads and so on. They cannot do that. So they have to give the grant to every child. And so they are using it to champion this, image that they are caring about every Guyanese. But we know in every other sector that they are dealing with black people in ways that makes it appear that they want to make us slaves again in this country that we built. We are not prepared to accept it. At the GGMC, 4 black brothers on their lunchtime were playing dominoes on their lunch hour. and they dismissed them because some minister came in and greeted them. They said they stood up, they say, "Hail, minister." He said, "You are playing dominoes at night," and so on. And by the time he went into the office, they got letters saying that they did not respond appropriately to the minister. Who is the minister? He is not God. He's not a God. But every little avenue that they find to dismiss a black person in the government employ, they are using it. And so we have to stand up. And when we call upon you to march to the city and to march upon the city to demand what is due and just to us, we are hopeful that you are going to come out and you are going to be prepared to stand strong and not be afraid, and to give them a stone for a pebble, so that they understand that get hit back, and that we are not going to take it. All right? And so, brothers and sisters, spread the word. The movement is on. The struggle is on. This is a war that we have begun, and we must take it to the final conclusion. Cause it what it will. Thank you.
We're gonna be the next one.
Mr.
So we are there for them. You will take our stand. Who's gonna be the next one? We will not be fooled by the PPP. We must go.
You need a coming wing.
People fighting to protest because that's what happened to Parliament. And the same government,
They will not take
the
another
same
life of a black man
government
in this
did
country.
nothing.
They will say, they will not take another life of a black man in this country.
You understand me? Yes, I am forcefully put everybody. Yes, I'm an ex-soldier. I'm everybody.
Comrades, this struggle is not only about a vaccine. This struggle is about your fundamental rights and your freedom in this country.
That's right.
When David Hines is elected, or Kadaki is elected to run anything, the power comes from the people who elected him. What we have to do is to hold every government accountable for its choices. Don't be confused. Don't let anyone tell you or seek to remind you about what the previous government did. Let us now discuss what this government is doing. Because this government, or the party that was elected, is now in the executive. And it is those people who are in the executive we have to hold accountable. This issue, as I said, is about our freedom. It's about our rights in this country. We are talking today, I listen to you, we're chanting about the vaccine. Whether we will take it or we don't take it. But everything, as I said, fall within the purview of our fundamental rights.
Fidel.
This issue, the issues before us, are linked to our rights and our freedom. We can't live in a society where laws are made every day by a group of people to protect a group of people. We can't live in a society where when someone applies for a piece of land to construct a home, their home, if you don't belong to a party, or you're not supporter of a party, or you're not support what the government is doing, you will not get it. That is never in the Constitution. What we have to do is to demand that these injustices come to an end. Professor Clive Thomas talked some years ago. He said, look, our newfound wealth is the oil. Give everybody, citizen, a 5,000 US dollars per year from it. Everybody running here and there. Let me tell you what. The issue that we are fighting now has to be linked to issues of that nature, where we can demand what is just because the national patrimony of this country belongs to every citizen, and we must demand that we get from it too. Not Jack Dio and his friends and his comrades and orphans and his family getting everything from the oil. Rich country, poor people. We can't continue to be poor. We have to demand that. We have the University of Guyana. We have the University of Guyana. It needs money to keep it going. But you know what I said? We're going to put money in the university. But we're going to give thousands of scholarships. But for you to get a scholarship, you got to kowtow to some party official. Somebody got to write your name. When you apply done, you got to get somebody saying that this is a supporter of the party before you can get. Education is a human right, and we must fight for that. The issue of gold-bearing land in this country cannot be erased. We can't put it aside. The issue of agriculture land. I heard Dion earlier was making, I think it was Dion making the point, where Kadaki made the point that your lands here and the backlands on these coast areas were flooded too. But nobody will come here to give you relief. We will look for the areas like the region 5, the region 2, where region 3, where the government believes that its supporters are, and push the money using a trust fund to make every other comrades up. This thing got to come to an end. And I tell you this, you will never get justice by sitting down. We have to come out, we have to put boots on the ground, we got to march in this country. We got to fight for what is just and fair for all of us. We cannot continue to be somebody finding excuses. And for those people who look like me, who is in the government, I want to put them on notice that if they believe that they're going to sit down with the PPP as decoration, like what Sam Hines has done to us for 23 years, it will not happen. We must not accept them back in our community if they can't fight for us to get justice. If we can't get anything in if they can't fight for our communities to benefit from the national patrimony of this country, they must not come back to our community. Too often we walk with the position, we walk around, giving people the impression, oh, we forgive you.
And every time you forgive them, they trample on you. The rest will come after trample on you again. This thing has to come to an end. And I heard the brother talking about Kwame Ring. Let me say to you, never turn a Nelson's eye to anything like that. The PPP believe in one thing. They believe that they can kill people and get away with it. That has to come to an end. Our communities, we got to insulate our communities from the violation and the transgression that are coming from the PPP over the years. You have to stand and fight back. My call is very clear. What I've seen here today, I am encouraged because I always believe that a struggle can only be won by making the first step. And we have had a large crowd here today, large in comparison to what I've seen in my lifetime when struggles have started. It takes the idea of one man to share with another man. Two people can start it. And many of us are here today. We can start to do the things that are necessary to be done. I encourage you to stay resolute. Let's continue the fight. The fight is for not only us, but for generations to come. Thank you, brothers.
Sisters and brothers, we've been at it for 2.5 hours, and I know that there is a limit to which the human tolerance can go, so I will not be long. I think my brothers and Sister Genevieve, they've covered everything. I want to join with them to thank you all for coming out and to say to you all that we love you all. We love you all. They got some leaders, they talk about black struggles, and they say black people are being oppressed. And then they say, but they got Indians who are oppressed too. I know they got Indians who are oppressed too, but I want to talk to you all. And I'm mixing up your all story with other people's story. Everyone may be oppressed, but you all are oppressed more than the others. And so I want to talk to you all as oppressed black people to say the burden of freedom is on your shoulder. Your forbearance, free this place. Make this place a place for people to live. And when they did it, they make sure that others who came could not come as slaves. We free them. And if we free them, we must not allow them to enslave us. It's as simple as that. Right. You all will get nothing if you all don't fight for it. That has always been the case. And this fight has to be joined. For 1 year, we watch them. And we say, maybe it's not for real. They will get better. For 1 year, we wait on our leaders to call us to action. And it hasn't happened. And so, you have called yourself to action. You are the leaders. And I want to say to you all, in no uncertain terms, that this government is disrespectful to black people. And if people disrespect you, you have a right to disrespect them. And I want to encourage you all, in whatever way you can, undermine this government. Undermine this government in whatever way you can. I can't tell you how to do it. But in the Beniba, make Washiba take notice. Undermine this government because it has no good intention towards you. Yes, undermine the installed government. And we are not struggling for victory 5 years from now. We are struggling for victory tomorrow. They refuse to pay some young ladies who've been working since December. And the young ladies came to Buxton and we raised their issue. And you know what? They paid. That the most inhuman system mankind has ever seen. People like we overthrow it. And if we can overthrow slavery, we can overthrow these Dagobah. And we have to link our hands. We are one people. Some have been denounced in that Barucham place that I come from, Buxton. But all of us, beautiful black people, we are God's children. We are God's children. And so therefore, join this struggle in can. I promise you that those of us who are mobilizing you, we will not let you down. We have let you all down many. We talk about a new politics where the leaders do not let down people. And we want we have power in our hand. We didn't use it as best because that's what, sorry. Forgive us. But stay with us because we are going to do better. And we're going to do better because you all must demand and will demand. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Thank you. To come out and stand up with out there. And when I'm going to come out,
Victorians, Guyanese, every time. And we are asking you to spread the word. Let us not keep it to ourselves, but let us keep mobilizing. The longest journey starts with one step. And we have made a whole lot of steps. There in Church Avenue. We are going to converge in Buxton. And we are and that's what they're going to have in New York. Okay? 9 o'clock or we go midday?
We come
Meet me there 1 o'clock. Spread the word. Everybody here can take 10 persons with you. And the others will come along and we make 10,000. We'll take it from there. I tell people all the time that Victoria, I'm speaking to Victorians now. This village belongs. I see so many other protests in other places, staying and all over. And I've never seen the police in their face. They do here. They can't do this to them there, and they're bringing it to us. One more. He's even asking people's name. Our village. As long as we are not breaking the law, we are going to hold on to our village. And nobody's going to chase us if we want to gather peaceful. After Dr. Hines, they have an appointment. But persons, we will protest till night. We don't care. We're going right back.
It's a symposium at Tipperary Hall on ancestral land. So if some of you have the time, you can come down there. The speakers are Eric Lewis, Kidaki, Amsterdam. We're going to be discussing Black economic empowerment and our ancestral lands at Tipperary Hall. So if any one of you, we are going now. And if you can't make it, it will be streamed on CAMS TV. Thank you.
Standing up our right. Minister, let him be frank and truthfully. A vaccine does do something for your body. Either protect you or serve. Intimidation, no vaccine. Full vaccine. It's 3 sets they have to give them. Them take none. They have to say for remote control. And after that, 3 vaccines. Let them tell them 666. There's PPP. We don't want
not take the install vaccine either. PPP must go. And they have to go.
And you get them to go. We don't need them not to go. You don't need them. They got to go. Go.